Yeah, it's the SportLife Uncensored show. We in it to win it though. About to start the podcast. Yeah, you better watch that. SportLife Uncensored show. We in it to win it though. About to start the podcast. Yeah, you better watch that. Yeah, don't miss it. Cause when we shoot a shot, we swish it. Like Curry, you know we ain't never miss it. Sports info, yeah, that's the mission. Compared to other people, we different. Knocking out the other competition. Put them all in a submission. We don't tap out, we keep on hitting. 3 different fans, 3 different teams. Best sports podcast you ever seen. Noah, David, and Tyler supplying the finest opinions that's only real. They be providing excitement like when it was Tyson up in it with Holyfield. Just like Barry Bonds in his prime. They knock it out the park every time. Yeah, it's the SportLife Uncensored show. We in it to win it though. About to start the podcast. Yeah, you better watch that. SportLife Uncensored show. We in it to win it though. About to start the podcast. Yeah, you better watch that. Yeah, don't miss it. Cause when we shoot a shot, we swish it. Like Curry, you know we ain't never miss it. Sports info, yeah, that's the mission. Compared to other people, we different. Knocking out the other competition. Put them all in a submission. We don't tap out, we keep on hitting. 3 different fans, 3 different teams. Best sports podcast you ever seen. Noah, David, and Tyler supplying the finest opinions that's only real. They be providing excitement like when it was Tyson up in it with Holyfield. Just like Barry Bonds in his prime. They knock it out the park every time.
Welcome you to another live edition of the Sports Box, your go-to sports podcast featuring great content, conversation, and your occasional disagreement. Stick around to interact and ask questions. The Sports Box is brought to you by our sponsor, Showcase Sports, located on the White Horse Pike in Hamilton, New Jersey. Showcase Sports for the elite player. Ladies and gentlemen, it's showtime.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We're back once again with the second episode of the SportLife Uncensored podcast here on the Sports Box Network. I am your host, Noah Dog Dive. We're joined by my friends and co-host, Tyler Rowe, also known affectionately, given the nickname last week of Jesus, very fitting, and of course, David Dunphy, a.k.a. Big Dunphy. How are you guys doing tonight?
Doing great.
How you doing, Noah?
I'm doing okay, man. I'm doing okay. Trevor says the intro song goes hard. Yes, Trevor made our new intro song.
I love it. It's fire.
It's awesome.
It's
Thank
really
you,
good. He sent it to us about 5 minutes before we went live, and I uploaded it. You know,
we never heard it before, so
we just trusted him, and he did a great job.
D-Bake says, have a good show, guys. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
And of course, Garth coming in with the good old let's go comment because he's always fired up, as we know. But, you know, interesting week of sports, guys. Wild week in the NFL, wild week in college as well. We got a lot to talk about. So real quick before we do get into the segments tonight, I just want to say, in case anyone's watching and has not yet, make sure to leave a like on the show because it helps spread our show through the Facebook algorithm. Let's get right into. Wait, hang on. Who does the? I think I do the first. Oh, I don't know who does the first. So
you got to know.
So we're going to start with the Week 6 recap here. And I love that this is the first game, man. This game was great. It looked like the Saints had some hope at the first half, man. You know, Spencer Rattler, I thought he looked really good, but man, this Saints defense like reminds me of good old 2014 of something. I mean, obviously, David, I'm going to start with you on this one. Like, this is a good Bucs team and all, but that second half collapse, what went on there, man?
Man, we're just too banged up, to be completely honest with you. We're missing several starters, and the rookie Spencer Rattler, he came alive in the second quarter. Man, we were down 21-0. We had the Chris Olave concussion fumble there, and scoop and score, and we got down quick. And I was impressed. He stayed poised, and he kind of shook back in the second quarter. Actually took the lead twice. I have no idea what happened in the second quarter, man. Or the second half, we came out. We missed 15 tackles, I believe, in the second half of that game, and it was pretty ridiculous. The last time the Saints gave up 51 points was in 2012 against the Giants. The last time the Saints gave up 594 yards of offense was in 2004 against the Vikings. And the last time they gave up 277 rushing yards was in 2000 against the Broncos, who happened to be coming to town tonight. The offense played as expected. No run game was established. AK only had 13 carries for 40 yards, averaged 3.1 yards per carry. It was rough, man. The second half adjustments weren't there, and they were for the Bucs. Sean Tucker, man, I've never even heard of this guy, and he comes out and has 2 carries for 7 yards before he plays us, and then finishes the game for 14 carries, 136 yards, and a tutty. Averaged almost 10 yards a fucking carry, man. It was ridiculous. He had 3 catches for 15 yards and a touchdown as well. Bucky Irving, he lit it up as well. 14 carries for 81 yards. They just ran all over us. We just folded and collapsed and just forgot how to tackle, apparently. But yeah, man, it was not a good game whatsoever for me to see. It was pretty rough. So.
Yeah, David, you pretty much said it all. Like I said, Spencer Rattler looked good, like Noah said, coming out of the gate. I was really high on the kid. Had a couple turnovers in the second half, but as a whole, y'all's team just did not play well in the second half. And yeah, Sean Tucker's a fucking beast. I don't know where this dude came from, but man is an absolute monster. And no need to tell you, David, there's 3 pretty good teams over there ready to duke it out for that division. So y'all better get it found out and maybe get some injuries coming back.
In a hurry.
Yeah, this game, this was just a back and forth game. So the Bucs go up 17-0. And you think that's pretty much it. And then Rattler has that insane second quarter. It looks like the offense is unstoppable. And in the second half, 27-0. That's just, it's just wild. I did like if you just look at the stats, Rattler, 22 of 40, 243, a touchdown, 2 interceptions. I think he did all right. Like you said, David, that team is just really banged up. And I know next man up and all that, but there comes a point where you're just missing so much. And you're playing a good Bucs team. I didn't expect them to get blown out in the second half like they did, especially at home. But their defense just couldn't stop anything. Rashad White was out for the game. Sean Tucker comes in, played college ball at Syracuse, and, like you said, almost 10 yards per carry, touchdown. Bucky did his thing as well. Baker rebounded from the turnovers, had 4 pass touchdowns in the end. Chris Godwin was just absolutely lighting it up. Slow day for Mike Evans, which some people might have expected, but Chris Godwin stepped up as well. And too many mistakes, mental mistakes for Saints, turnovers. You cannot let a team like the Bucs get on a roll like they did. And of course, David, I have to throw it in there. Beating the Bucs isn't for everybody. I understand that.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to touch on one more thing, Man, I don't know about y'all, but I just feel like Dennis Allen has to be on the hot seat with 4 straight losses. The defense has been the biggest reason for our losses this year. I said last year the only reason why I think it's still okay that he's a head coach is because he has a top 10 defense and his halftime adjustments are remarkable. This year he don't have either one of those things. So I mean, if you win 5 or lose 5 straight tonight with Sean Payton, I think there has to be some pretty serious talks happen.
Yeah, I agree with that. His second half adjustments aren't there this year at all, as you saw in that game. But getting on to the better of the NFC South matchup, let's talk about the Falcons-Panthers game. Go ahead, Noah. Let's hear your take on it.
I mean, I think it was pretty much how we all kind of expected it would be when we did our predictions, which is, a good football team. It feels weird to say that after how many years they've been mediocre, but a good football team, balanced offense, running the ball. Kirk had, back-to-back good games, which is a good sign considering how he started the season. Just, a way better team. And Andy Dalton is coming back down to earth. He had that one insane game, and, Panthers fans are going crazy. That team has a lot more issues than the quarterback. Don't get me wrong, Bryce Young was awful, but Andy Dalton ain't a savior either, man. 2 interceptions. He was not good in this game whatsoever. 78.9 quarterback rating. Bijan was great, 2 touchdowns. But I want to give a shout-out, man, to the most, in my opinion, one of the most underrated running backs in the NFL. I'm not even saying that biasly. This Tyler Algier is just such a hard runner, dude. Like, he loves making contact, shrugging guys off, fighting for extra yardage. He had 105 yards and a touchdown this game. Another good game from Kyle Pitts. That's concerning, or that's a good sign to see, because about 2 to 3
It's concerning. No, you're right. I agree completely. It's very concerning
for you. Yes. But, only 2 to 3 weeks ago, people were wondering if this guy would ever be anything at all, and he's getting that role in the offense again. London's looking good. I mean, the defense looked good, but again, it's the Panthers, so how much can you read into that? But, overall, it's about what I expected. Panthers are absolute trash. But the biggest takeaway for me, guys, 3-0 in the division, which is really good because so many years where the Falcons could not make the playoffs, it was because they would drop games in division.
So many years. Yep, drop games in the division. I agree.
And, 3-0, so we'll take that. 4-2. I cannot remember the last time a Falcons team started the year 4-2. And, like I said last week, I think their start to the season with the schedule is way harder than the rest of it. They have some hard games here and there, but the fact they're 4-2 after 6 weeks, I think is really good. So they took care of business, did what they had to do, dominated the second half, by the way, 16-3 in the second half. It was a pretty close first half, actually, but they shut down their offense the second half, and overall, solid win.
Absolutely, I agree, Noah. The Falcons playmakers have come alive. I mean, they're finally they finally have chemistry with Cousins. They're looking great. Algier and Robinson both averaged nearly 6 yards per carry in this game. 3 touchdowns between both of them. London and Pitts both had over 70 receiving yards in the same game. I mean, that's awesome. That's what you want. Cousins was 19 of 30, 225 and a touchdown. Just looked great. The Panthers, man, they looked as expected, back and forth between awful and average. Dalton threw a pair of tutties and a pair of interceptions. I got to say, though, man, Hubbard is running his ass off for that crappy team. Like, he had 18 carries for 92 yards, averaged 5 point yards per carry. Didn't have a touchdown, but, I mean, he balled out. Deontay Johnson also, pretty solid, 6 for 78 and a touchdown. But they're about the only 2 bright lights on that team. But, yeah, Falcons, they keep on rolling, so.
Well, like Noah said, they've dropped the division in past years by losing divisional games. Now they're winning divisional games. Look out. Falcons might run away with it. Now, I mean, the Bucs still look good, and Saints, I don't know what y'all got going on over there other than the injuries. But this game was a lot closer than I expected going into the fourth quarter. I mean, I think it was 28-20 going into the fourth, and then primetime Falcons took over, Captain Kirk. And then back to Algier, I agree with you, Noah. He is highly underrated. The man runs like he's just mad at people. Give him the ball more. Especially, I like when they gave it to him down there at the 2. He needed that, and he's going to be the one that's going to punch it in for y'all.
Absolutely, I agree. All right, on to the next game here.
Real quick, David, before you get on to the next one, I kind of want to talk about that comment that we just got.
Yeah.
Josh Jacobs for Aaron Rodgers in fantasy and a 6th-round pick. I'm guessing that's like a keeper league. I've never played in a keeper league.
Dynasty League. I'll be honest, I don't know a lot about Dynasty League. I'd say just off the stats I remember, I think Aaron Jones actually has a higher yards per carry this year than Josh Jacobs does. And he's on I would say a better team personally, at least just from what I've seen. So, I mean, for the 6th-round pick is thrown in, that's really valuable for a draft. So, I mean, I guess.
Yeah, I will say Minnesota.
Josh Jacobs is he's contributing in the passing game pretty good as well.
And Jones is coming off of an injury, so it really just depends on how he's going to come back and bounce back from that injury.
Do it, Andy. I say do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a bad trade. I mean, I think there's ups on both sides of it. I mean, the 6th-round pick really sweetens that deal, though.
Mm-hmm.
Gibbs and Cook, yeah.
But go ahead, David. I just wanted to.
Absolutely. No, I like it. All right, on to one of my favorite games of the week here, Tyler. Lions versus Cowboys.
No, the Cowboys didn't play last week.
Oh, okay. You're right. They definitely didn't look like they did, being
they showed up to watch the game, but they didn't play.
Blown out 47-9. Yeah, that's
on Jerry Jones' birthday.
That's
we're all in, guys. We're all in.
That's very fitting. But yeah, Lions just dominating here. Let's go on and start with you, Tyler. What you think about this game here?
Well, I mean, I think a lot of things about it. None of them are good. Jerry Jones needs to give the team over. He thinks he knows more about football than he does. And I don't doubt that Jerry Jones wants to win a Super Bowl, but he wants to do it his way. And in the NFL, that's not how winning's done. Go get a Jimmy Johnson type of coach back and stop getting these pushovers like Mike McCarthy and Jason Garrett. Like, they're just doing exactly what the man says, and he's demonstrated year after year that he has no clue what he's doing on the football field. As far as this game goes, Detroit just slapped us. I mean, they were running their offensive linemen on actual routes outside the numbers. Like, I mean, I get that call in Dallas last year was it definitely hit them harder than I thought it did, because I think they ran 7 or 8 different tries at the end zone to get an offensive lineman to score, and almost made a beautiful back shoulder throw and catch. That was ridiculous. Yeah, no, Jesus ain't saving this one. Jesus ain't saving this one. Jesus is looking for some kind of hope, man. Call up Dalvin Cook, do something. Go trade for ETN over there in Jacksonville. They're looking for help. Now, I'll tell you what they would really be smart, since DeMarcus Lawrence is out. Devontae Adams just got traded. So obviously the Raiders are looking to maybe get some into the next years. Maybe go throw an offer at Max Crosby, see what they want for him. But as far as this game goes, good job, Lions. They beat the shit out of us. That's all I've got to say about it. I mean, they had 9 possessions where they scored. We had 9 points in the game. That says everything it needs to say. Somebody else can talk about this now, because I like I said, I have no hope to shed here.
Go ahead, Noah. Tell me your thoughts on the game as well.
I mean, it's going to be weird for me to say this, because, you know, I basically made a career when he was with the Falcons out of trashing him. But I think what we're seeing from this Cowboys team is they really miss Dan Quinn at DC, man. I mean, looking at the teams they played, the only 3 games they've had this year where the defense looked good was it's against inept offenses. Browns, Steelers, and the other one is slipping my mind, honestly. But, you know, every good team they played, it's kind of been like this. Now, I did pick the Lions to win. I didn't expect them to just get absolutely steamrolled like this. And it's strange to see this at AT&T, because last year I think the Cowboys were undefeated in the regular season at home, and this year they're 0-3. All their wins have been on the road, which is usually not what you would expect. I mean, Lions look really good. Montgomery's a stud. Gibbs, you know, I think is still trying to get back from that injury he had a bit earlier, but, you know, he's still contributing. Laporta had 1 catch, but it was for a 52-yard touchdown on, I believe, a trick play as well. Goff looked really good. Dak with 2 more interceptions, though, man. He's got to stop turning the ball over. They have no running game. Ezekiel Elliott had the most carries in the game. He only had 17 yards, 2.1 yards per carry. When Dallas is good, it's because they have a good running game. That's what their offense is always known for. They don't have anything there. Their offensive line looks trash. CD Lamb is like their only playmaker that I look at and see contributing. And even then, people are talking about him as a top 2 to 3 guy for the season, but because that offense is so dysfunctional, I mean, it just hasn't been like that. Good win for the Lions, really good team. But Dallas, they just look completely dysfunctional. I don't know why they didn't fire Mike McCarthy either. This guy has so much credit in the bank because of one Super Bowl from 15 years ago almost, because of Aaron Rodgers. It's ridiculous. Jerry Jones, the management, has no clue what they're doing. I know it's fun to laugh at the Cowboys and all that, but they should be better than this. Like, this is just ridiculous.
Yeah, Noah, we let the wrong coach go. But Jerry Jones is never going to keep Dan Quinn because he's not a yes man. The other team you were talking about with the trash offense that we beat was the Giants.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Absolutely. I'm going to start with Dallas here. I mean, Dak just got paid a lot of money, and he's been pretty good. But this game, I mean, completing a lousy 50% of his passes and a pair of interceptions, that's not great. I mean, you just have to be better than that.
And these weren't interceptions like the receiver's fault. These were clear Dak mistakes, not reading the defense. Absolutely.
I mean, Lamb took in 7 catches for 89 yards. I mean, that's okay, but not when you're getting blown out, 47-9. The Lions were able to, just play backyard football just because they wanted to. I mean, they could do whatever the hell they wanted the game. It didn't even look fair. All right, so onto the Lions. I mean, they look remarkable. Goff was on fire. He completed 18 of 25 in passing, 315 yards, 3 touchdowns. I mean, the playmakers are going off. David Montgomery, averaged 6.7 yards per carry with a pair of tutties. Jahmyr Gibbs, he also had 12 for 63, averaging 5.2 yards per carry. When you got 2 backs like the Falcons and the Lions that are averaging these kind of numbers on the ground, man, that's a damn good team. And Jameson Williams, man.
Oh, yeah.
He looks really good, and he ate somebody's lunch all game. I mean, kind of. I mean, he only had 3 catches, but 76 yards and a tutty. 25.3 yards per reception is just ridiculous. And man, I just really like Dan Campbell. I don't know if y'all seen the video of the locker room video afterwards. He had gave Goff the game-winning ball, and then Goff said, "No, where you started, this is your game-winning ball." And just the way Dan Campbell, you could see how filled he is with emotions. I mean, it was really cool to see. He's just a good dude that loves football and loves his football team, and it's just that's very respectable. I like the hell out of the guy. So
he plays ball the right way.
Absolutely, he does, and he's gritty. He gets out there. He'll do up downs with the guys. I mean, that's the kind of coach that you want. You know what I mean?
Example.
So, absolutely. So, yeah, I mean, the Lions, man, they are looking like probably the best team in the NFC, right there with the Falcons and a couple other teams. So, they're looking good. So.
Also, David, I will say that little mishap you had where you said Duddies, that applies. That applies to the Cowboys this year.
Yeah, absolutely.
This year.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, man, they're legit. They're a contender. I mean, it honestly feels to me like I've already forgotten this team was in the championship game last year, and they should have made the Super Bowl. They completely blew the second half. They're good, man. Dan Campbell is, I mean, you can obviously the players love him. He's a player's coach because he played and he knows about hard-nosed grit football. That's what this team is about, man. And, the Lions have always had talent, but the problem for years was they were soft. Mm-hmm. This team is not soft, man. This team wants to run it right up your gut, go for it on 4th down, try to win the game instead of trying not to lose the game. And that's why they're a really good team, man. Speaking of really good teams, this next game I think had 2 really good teams in it, and one that's definitely been a surprise so far. I think it's fair to say. The Ravens in a tight game against Washington. In fact, guys, I think you could argue there's probably 3 different MVP candidates in this game.
Yeah.
Derrick Henry, Lamar, and Jaden Daniels. I think you could have expected the first two, but Jaden Daniels has been terrific so far, in my opinion. Tight game. I think the main difference for me was that Baltimore was able to run the ball, whereas Washington was a bit more one-dimensional. But Tyler, start with you on this one. What were your takeaways from this game? Baltimore getting a 7-point win.
So first off, the NFC East, the best team in that division is the Commanders, which is
Facts.
such a surprise to me. But it's not close. They're by far the best team. I think the Commanders have a lot to look forward to. They didn't lose this game. Jaden Daniels had no turnovers. They played, pretty sound football. They just got outplayed by a more experienced, better at this time team. On the Ravens side, the Ravens are great. They have so many different players they can go to. You got Derrick Henry you have to defend. Lamar Jackson, don't take your eyes off of him or he's going to run down the field on you as well. And then Zay Flowers, man, had a day. 9 receptions, 132 yards. They snubbed him on not giving him a touchdown. But, 9 receptions is crazy. This game was probably my favorite game of the week, watching as a fan at least. Great game all the way to the end, and just great by both teams played, and you could tell both teams had the fight, wanted to win the game, unlike some of these other teams we're watching. Like, those offenses are playing pretty sound in a year that a lot of offenses are not.
Absolutely. Both these teams are super fun to watch, man. And in any game they are in, and then they play each other. That's just it's very fun to see. You can't get two better mobile quarterbacks facing each other. Daniels completed 24 or 25 passes for 269 yards and a tutty. Also rushed for 6 times for 22 yards. Lamar 20 of 26 for 323, touchdown and interception. 11 rushes for 40 yards. They're so electric and, man, dynamic, and they're so fun to see. Both defenses played pretty decent. Both had a pair of sacks, and Washington had an interception. The difference maker for me was King Henry. The rushing leader carried the ball 24 times for $132 and 2 touchdowns. Both teams are 4-2 and division favorites for sure. It does suck. Jonathan Allen, has a season-ending injury there. He's a dynamic defensive tackle there for Washington, but that's going to be a big loss for them. But they're a good team, so I still expect them to keep excelling. But just a fun game to see. This is the kind of games that make people love football.
Yeah, man, I agree with you guys saying they're the best team in the East, which is surprising. But, the Eagles look terrible. They have a horrible head coach. Cowboys are a mess, and everyone knows the Giants stink. So, this team looks so promising. Daniels, I'd say that one game, against the Bucs, he showed promise, but he had a bit of a struggle since then. He's been pretty on fire. I know they lost this game, but they're still 4-2, weaker division. You only need 9 wins. You can make a wild card. I definitely think they could do that at the very least. I do think my only concern with them is their running game, because, with Brian Robinson not playing in this game, Austin Eckler, he's not a guy you want to give a ton of carries. He also probably knew I started him in this game. That's the reason he did absolutely nothing on the ground. He's more of a receiving guy. But for Baltimore, talk about a perfect landing place for Derrick Henry. And, I'll hold my hands up on this one. I was one of those guys that thinking he was starting to slow down towards the end with Tennessee. That is not the case. This guy still has it, and perfect landing spot for him, because this is a team that wants to run the ball, both with quarterback and running back.
Still has it.
But big underrated guy in their offense for me. And you mentioned Tyler Zay Flowers, 10th in the league in catches this year and 11th in yards. He's a yardage machine. He just needs to get more touchdowns. He only has 1 this season. But, yeah, man, the Ravens are a contender. And they've gone off to the start they need, because, the only other team I think of that division that's as good as them is the Bengals, but they've been really slow to start the year. So,
real quick before we move on to the next game. Yeah, David, you said this came down to King Henry. Do y'all know who the leading rusher of the Washington Commanders was in this entire game?
Jaden Daniels, right?
With 6 carries for 20 yards. Come on, they got to get that going. But on to the next game. Bills at Jets. Go ahead, Noah. Take us one away. Let's see your thoughts on this new Jets team without Robert Saleh for the first game.
Man, I gotta be honest. I hate Aaron Rodgers, dude. Like, I really do. This guy, look, okay, I'll say this right away. I think he overall had a good game. I think this is one of his best games as a Jet, but like everything this guy does, he's not easy to root for. I mean, yes, I know Mike Williams fell down, but and I think you mentioned this, David. He had Breece Hall wide open underneath, good completion. He threw it deep, and it's intercepted. But then, not only that, this guy throws Mike Williams under the bus after the game. I'm just like, man, what a great teammate this guy. And he wonders why no one likes him.
That's not the first time either.
Not to mention, he also didn't go to mandatory camp this year. But let's throw everybody else under the bus.
Yeah, exactly. Great. Breece Hall's an animal. I mean, 113 yards this game. Lazard and Wilson, they did their thing. But, Bills, just a better team. And it was a close divisional game. But, I mean, for a Jets team, that Aaron Rodgers is supposed to come in and be their savior, and he's going to be the reason, I saw tons of people saying that Jets will win the AFC East. I don't know what they were smoking, but they're 2-4. I mean, like, is there any major difference you're seeing from on the field wins and losses from what the Jets have been the past few years? I don't think so. The Bills, really solid team. Ray Davis, I like him. He stepped up as kind of their lead back, surprisingly. 20 carries, 97 yards this game. Allen, he didn't go off, but he had a good game. But yeah, man, Jets, it's just so hard to root for this team because Aaron Rodgers is just, I'm not, it's weird, right? Because I think he overall had a good game, but it's like the last drive of the game and how he's handled it. To me, it shows there's a lot of problems with that team. And I think, don't get me wrong, I think trading for Devontae Adams is really good for them because, Garrett Wilson's a stud, but, past that, I think there's a bit of a drop-off to Lazard. So you get Adams and Wilson. That's a really solid 1-2 punch. But, you get your coach fired, and then you go out and, do this after. To me, it's a terrible look. A good win for the Bills, close divisional game. But Jets are 2-4. And the AFC is really tough, man. There's a lot of teams that are rock solid. They're going to be in for it, man. I mean, they got to play the Bills again, the Dolphins and Patriots maybe, but like this was a game I think they needed to win because they had an opportunity to drive down and win the game, and then that clusterfuck happened pretty much. So, but yeah, good rebound win for the Bills, I guess.
No, you're completely right. And if they're gonna do anything, if they're gonna make any noise, they're gonna have to get something going right now. They don't have any excuses anymore. Aaron Rodgers has, already made the team exactly how he wants it. So, they did look better. I'll give them that. I feel like they looked better. Rodgers is probably the fucking luckiest Hail Mary thrower I've ever seen in my life. It's pretty ridiculous. That probably was his best game as a Jet. I mean, he completed 23 of 35, 294, and 2 touchdowns. Also through the game-sealing interception. Like you mentioned earlier, Breece Hall was wide open right there in the flat, but, he had his ego and wanted to go deep. And, Mike Williams' gumpy ass kind of fell over his own shoestrings there. But, you don't throw him under the bus like that. I mean, things like that happen. But that's Rodgers. He did that in Green Bay as well, and that's who he is. I will say they're probably trending in the right direction, but we'll see. I mean, they're going to have to trim pretty damn fast if they're going to make any noise. Buffalo had a really good bounce-back game. Divisional opponents are always tricky, but, they pulled it out. Josh Allen had a much better week after completing just 9 passes last week. I mean, I don't know what that was about, but this week he went 19-25, 215 passing yards and 2 touchdowns. And something else that's pretty crazy that I did not know till earlier, he has 0 interceptions on the year. That is awesome. That's impressive. He also scrambled, 9 times for 18 yards and a rushing touchdown. And pretty awesome to see DeMar Hamlin leading the team in tackles there, which is, after that scary episode, we've seen it. That's always awesome to see whenever you see things like that. They look much better, and I think they're definitely going to win the division for sure. So, pretty decent game, pretty good game, but good win for the Bills.
Right, absolutely. Noah, you were talking about Ray Davis leading the charge. He also led them in receiving with 3 receptions for 55 yards. So just all around great day by the kid. Before I even get into this game, what I really want to see next year is the Jets go hire Nick Sirianni, and I would like to see a fist fight between him and Aaron Rodgers on the sideline. Because I'm with you, Noah. I can't stand the dude. Like, now they said he ran the wrong route, he fell, whatever. You still don't throw the guy under the bus. That's a teammate.
At least not publicly like that. If you want to do it behind the scenes, yeah.
Right. And then, so not the only person he's got fired from their job this year, though. So what's new? And David, that Hail Mary was great by him, but his best Hail Mary of the year was phoning the owner of the Jets and going to get Devontae Adams. That's his best Hail Mary of his career.
Absolutely.
As far as the actual game goes, I think the Jets had a decent game. Their offense did look better under new play calling. Another Aaron Rodgers guy, Nathaniel Hackett's terrible. He's a terrible offensive coordinator, should not be calling plays in the NFL. He's just lucky he has a great friend in all-star Aaron Rodgers. But they bounced back good under new play calling. I think the coach they have, the intern, the Ulbrich, he is fired up. He leads like he should lead. And I like Robert Saleh, but they did need something new. But they've got Devontae Adams now. So let's see. There's no excuses. No excuses. If you lose now and you can't get it figured out, when they said they had everything they needed to win, to be a contender, and then 4 games in, they're like, well, we need another receiver. Okay, what else do you need after this? There's no excuses. The worst part of this game was watching these kickers try to kick field goals. Other than that, I mean, this wind was just splitting. I mean, I think 3 balls hit the upright.
Yeah, it was pretty ridiculous.
Greg Zuerlein's also just not a good kicker, but I'll give it to him this time. I'll let him have it this time. But go get a new kicker. And again, just like I said, I'm excited to watch Aaron Rodgers with this his team he's built, because if he's bad now, I'm not holding back. He's got all his chance right now. Other than that, the game was pretty good. I mean, it was a pretty good Monday night game. I'm just ready to see Aaron Rodgers get toasted some more, even with his favorite receiver. Got 2 of them now. I think he's really just rebuilding the Packers. He should have just stayed.
That's the thing. Like, that was the thing people always said. Oh, it's everything around Aaron. He put him somewhere else to be really good. He gets all these former Packers in. He gets Nathaniel Hackett in. Like, all these, it just makes no sense to me, man.
Hey, does he want Mike McCarthy? You can have him.
Oh my God.
I'll take Saleh. I'll take Saleh.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. All right, fellas, on to the next segment here. Segment 2, Play of the Week. Who have you got, Tyler?
So Play of the Week, I'm actually going to throw it into the realm of college football, specifically because this won a game. Alabama defensive back Malachi Moore tells fellow defensive back Damani Jackson not to knee the ball in the end zone. So what happened, for who didn't watch, he intercepted the ball at the 5-yard line and drifted into the end zone. And of excitement, went to go knee the ball. Great heads up thinking by the other safety, because he ran over there very quickly. He's like, no. And so he ran it out. Had he need that ball, they tie the game up 27-27 with South Carolina going to overtime. So great heads up play by that kid. Just way to really have your head on a swivel.
Yeah, for sure, man. And, I got to give you credit. You've chosen some 2 interesting plays of the week, so I'll say that last week a lot of people wouldn't pick. I've gone with a more normal common pick, I think, which was the Joe Burrow rushing touchdown against the New York Giants. We all know what he can do running the football. He's not a guy you typically think of scrambling for something like this. Is more something you think from Lamar Jackson. But, great start to the game against, a Giants team that it looks in complete dysfunction. But it was on a third and 18 as well, guys. So, he was able to escape, and, they were playing a bit deeper, and he was able to take advantage of that. He also dove for the pylon. I think he would have made it without that anyway, but, just capped it off.
Yeah.
Hey, he unhitched the wagon. That man was moving. That man was moving.
Hey, he was getting it. Absolutely. I went with a defensive play here. Myles Garrett blocking the punt. I mean, he hurdled the line, executed it perfectly. And then, the beautiful thing about it was former Eagles safety Rodney McLeod happened to scoop and score for the only touchdown for the Browns there. So I thought that was pretty awesome.
Hey, at least someone can score touchdowns with the Browns, because Deshaun Watson ain't doing it.
Absolutely.
All right, boys. Next segment, we're going to be introducing a new segment that we did not do last week, which is our trivia segment called Did You Know? Now, I've arranged these in what I say is order of difficulty. So we're going to start with Tyler's on this one. You want to go ahead and introduce yours?
Gotcha. Okay. So I went a little easier this one to just kind of introduce it and have everybody kind of get into it. The best way to do this, guy, don't Google it. Just give us your answers. All right. So the silhouette of the official NBA logo is a former NBA player. Who is it, and who did he play for?
Do you know this one, David?
Yes, I do.
I know it as well. I'm sure everyone in the comments knows it.
J-Dub.
How do we want to answer it? Is it just
One of y'all can go ahead and answer it. Just go for it.
Jerry West?
Yes, sir.
And played for?
Lakers.
Yep. Point guard for the Lakers.
And he also passed away this year, actually. So rest in peace to him.
Rest in peace.
Now, this one, I don't actually know this one that you have, David, but I have some guesses.
Yeah, so mine is, who has the record for the most consecutive games with a home run in MLB history?
Is this – go ahead. I was going to say, is this with or without the doping allegations?
This is all time.
Okay. Go ahead, Noah. You said you had a couple guesses. I've only got one.
Barry Bonds.
That was my guess.
Mm-mm.
Mark McGwire.
No, great guesses.
It's not the Babe.
Aaron Judge.
I'll go ahead and give it. All right, guys. It's a 3-way tie, actually.
Okay.
Ken Griffey Jr. in 1993.
Would have never gotten that one.
I'm probably going to bomb this, but Don Mattingly in 1987. Yeah, thank you. And Dale Long in 1956. They all went deep 8 games in a row.
On that first one, was that Ken Griffey or was it Jr.?
Ken Griffey Jr.
What a beautiful swing that guy had.
Yes.
Being a lefty, I mean, that's who I modeled my swing after. Great guy. Well, that was great. I didn't know that. And also, Miss Tiff got the correct answer to the last one.
Way to go, babe.
There you go. All right, guys. Now, mine is much harder, but it's like rapid fire, so you can try and name as many as you can. 18 of the 25 500-yard passing games in NFL history have come since 2000. Of those 18, 5 belong to currently active players. How many of the 18 can you guys name?
Kirk Cousins.
That's the easiest one.
Burrow.
Burrow is one. Yep.
Matt Ryan.
Matt Ryan's one.
Mahomes.
Let me check. I don't see Mahomes.
Okay.
No Mahomes.
It's right there.
Matthew Stafford. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
The Matt Flynn game.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Dak?
Yes.
Really?
2020, the Browns game.
That's all 5, right?
For active, there's 2 more you guys have not said.
Two more. And they're actively playing right now. Okay.
They're playing right now. I'll give you a hint though.
Tua.
One of them, no.
Andy Dalton.
No. One of them is currently injured.
I was gonna go Tua, not Tua.
No, Tua.
I said
he's not
Tua.
one.
He said
he's not one? Oh, okay. Okay.
No.
Currently injured. Man.
Yes.
I'm drawing blanks.
Derek Carr.
Isaac Carr?
Yes.
Hell yeah.
Come on, David.
Let's go. Dude, I was going to say that, but I was like, there's no way. No way.
2016, he had 513 against the Bucs, funny enough.
Wow.
There's one more active, and then you got how many? Like 10
Baker.
others. No.
Okay.
Babe, ain't no way my nickname is
Herbert.
Jesus. Yes,
Justin Herbert.
Nope.
It's not Lamar.
Is it? It can't be Kyler Murray.
He's on a team we have already discussed in the recaps.
Rodgers?
Nope. Plays in the same he
Josh
plays in the
Allen.
division Rodgers used to play in. He was
Jared
at number
Goff?
one. Yes.
Okay.
517 against the Bucs in 2019.
Nice.
Now you have 11 left, but none of them play anymore.
Breeze.
Yes. 2006 against the Bengals, he had 510, and then 2015 against the Giants, he had 505.
That was an amazing game between him and Eli.
Yeah, there was another one. They had like 13 pass touchdowns.
Yeah, it was stupid.
My little brother said Joe Flacco.
Joe Flacco is not one of them.
Okay.
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady had 517 against the Dolphins in 2011.
Manning. Peyton.
Yeah, of course.
No.
What?
Really?
Surprisingly, no.
Eli.
Yes.
He had some slingers.
Probably
Yeah.
the one against the Breeze.
Nope. 2012 against the Bucs, he had 510. There are 7 left.
7 left.
What?
Yep.
Dan Marino.
Is not one of them.
Okay.
Remember, it's since 2000.
Oh,
It's
since
not
2000. Oh, I was going way back.
My man Phillip Rivers with 37 kids.
Yes, 503 against the Packers, 2015. A game they lost, by the way. But
Speaking of the Packers, how about Brett Favre?
no.
Oh,
There are still 6 left.
Kurt Warner.
Now, I'll give you guys another hint. 3 of them are actually from one player.
Oh, okay. One player with 500 passing yards since 2000, retired player.
What division?
Not Romo.
AFC North.
AFC North, okay.
Oh, Ben Roethlisberger.
522 against the Colts in 2014. 506 against the Ravens in 2017. And 503 against the Packers in 2009.
Yeah, he.
Austin said Big
underrated.
Ben like 2 minutes ago.
Oh, good job, buddy.
All right, so there's 3 left.
Okay.
2 of them you guys should probably know. One of them is completely out of left field. Like, I saw this and I'm like, there's no way this is true. These are older ones. The most recent one left is from 2013, so it might be tough.
2013. I was say, Michael Vick might have ran for 500 yards in a game.
Let's see here.
Yeah, it's tough, man. I'm trying to get the one that's out
Alex
of left
Smith.
field.
Nope.
Good guess. That's a good guess. Trying to rattle my brain to who's playing back then.
One of them is from one of our teams.
Matt Ryan.
Nope.
I already said that.
You already said him.
Oh,
It's not Romo?
506 against the Broncos 2013. That game they lost like 51-48.
Yeah.
2 left.
2 left.
These are not easy. One of them is really hard. One you might be able to get.
Drew Bledsoe? I think he
No.
played right there at the end of 2000. No.
Nope.
Bart Starr.
That's
No. It's true since 2000.
Since 2000.
Oh,
Johnny Unitas. Man, this is tough. The one that's out of left field is the one I really want to guess.
Mm-hmm.
what team was the out of field?
Kansas City.
Tyler Thigpen?
No, it's in 2000. This is like one of the earliest ones.
Brady Quinn?
No.
Damn, I don't even know who their quarterback was. Tyler Green?
No.
I'm not going to guess that one. I don't know their quarterback. That's the 3 I named from that era.
Trent Green.
No.
That's his name. Trent Green. That's the Tyler Green.
Do you guys just want me to tell you?
Yeah, go ahead. I'm out of them.
Elvis Gerback
Oh,
had 504 yards against the Raiders on November 5th, 2000.
All right.
all right. Who's this other one?
There's one left. He played about 10 years ago, and he was pretty good, but he wasn't elite, but he was pretty good. Put up some big passing numbers. Actually led the NFL in passing yards one time.
2014.
The game was in 2012.
2012. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What team?
Houston Texans.
Schaub?
527.
What?
Butt phone?
Okay.
Tied for the second most in a game with Warren Moon. He had 527 yards against the Jags in 2012. Man, your brother is on it today.
He is.
Hey, he knows his stuff. He spelled his name wrong, but yeah, that's pretty
Hey,
close.
Schwab.
He's suave.
And that was fun.
I
was a tough.
like that. I like that.
I need to do
segment.
more like that. That was good.
I like that segment.
Absolutely.
Who has the next segment?
Tyler.
I think it is me. I got to find the next segment. I done went out of everything.
Segment 4.
Segment 4.
And I'm looking forward to segment 5. That's going to be nuts.
The segment 5 is what I've been waiting for. So segment 4, let's move on to it. We're going to move on to On This Day in Sports History. David, kick us off.
All right. So I actually kind of cheated. I did it for tomorrow. 10-18. So in 2009, quarterback Tom Brady throws 5 second quarter touchdowns against the Tennessee Titans, and an NFL record for touchdown passes in 1 quarter.
Okay.
That was a game. They won like 59-0 or something.
Yeah, it was stupid.
That's ridiculous.
I actually got a hockey one. And funny enough, it involves my favorite hockey team, the Pittsburgh Penguins. On this day in 1991, I don't think this record still stands, but Paul Coffey set an NHL defenseman record for most points at 1,053 career points with 309 goals and 744 assists. And the Penguins won the Stanley Cup that year as well, I'm pretty sure.
That's awesome.
So,
I actually had this one until I looked at your notes. So my backup was in 1974, the Oakland A's won the World Series to cap off their three-peat. MVP of this World Series, and all 3 of them actually, was Raleigh Fingers, starting pitcher.
That's awesome.
So
there you go.
Kansas City chasing the Oakland A's. That's crazy.
Absolutely. All right.
The fun
On to the next one. Segment 5. Mount Rushmore NBA edition. Let's start with you, Noah.
So do we just want to say one at a time or just list all ours at once?
Let's start at 4.
We're doing them in an order? I don't have an order.
Okay, well, then just start with what you think is your lowest, and then let's discuss and then go 3, 2.
All right, let's go ahead and just everybody's going to have MJ on there, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
He's one. I got
GOAT, enough said. So let's do the other 3.
Okay.
Other 3. First one I have is Kareem. Oh, by the way, before I say my 4 aren't I think you could argue they're the 4 best players ever, but mine was more like a mix of that and their impact on the game as a whole.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
So I chose Kareem because, in my opinion, greatest center of all time, skyhook, revolutionary. But also he was a big part of making black basketball players much more accepted because he's one of the first, nationwide stars. He did a lot off the court as well that made him a really popular guy. And obviously, I mean, his, 6-time MVP or something like that. 6-time champ. I mean, the record speak for itself, and he was just such an influential player for progressing the game. So that's one I had.
So my 4th person I have, and I put this guy because his numbers are ridiculous, and this is without a 3-point line. I'm going to go with Wilt Chamberlain. I mean, 30.1 points a game, 22.9 rebounds a game, and 4.4 assists a game. And I know this is a different game back then, but to do all that and he's not shooting anything that's worth more than 2 points is ridiculous. So that's why he made my list.
Right on. All right. I'm going to go with Shaq. Most dominant big man of all time, in my opinion. 4-time NBA champ, 3 finals MVPs, 15 times NBA All-Star, 8-time All-NBA first team. I mean, he's the player that got me to enjoy basketball. He was just dominant. He ran people over. He mauled them, and he was just explosive and couldn't stop him once he got inside the paint.
Oh, you forgot a very important stat of his. About four broken backboards a year.
Yeah.
I love him. I mean, he's a great player. Shaq was actually the one I was debating putting instead of Wilt Chamberlain. Because same reason. He got me into the big men and watching basketball.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, dude. I thought about both those guys. 4 guys is so tough. I wish it was at least 6.
It really should be.
It's hard to narrow down the best of a sport, and it's over the course of years.
Absolutely. All right, Noah.
My 3rd one. So I'll go ahead and say right now, I have one player from each era. I don't have one two guys from the same one. So I already did Kareem, which is like mainly the 70s. MJ's mainly the 90s. For the one that was mainly the 80s, there was two guys, and I ended up giving it to the guy I think it was slightly better, which is Magic Johnson over Larry Bird. I think you can make arguments for both of them. They're the two guys that their careers were shortened. Bird because of injuries, Magic because of HIV. But, I mean, Magic Johnson is the GOAT at point guard. Like, in my opinion, it's not like, I think there are guys you can say had longer careers, had more stats overall, but just pure dominance as a passer. He made averaging 10, 11 assists. Look routine. And then you add in the fact that he could have done much more if it weren't for the HIV. And also, I mean, dominance speaks for himself. What was it? 5 titles he won, a couple MVPs. And not just that, he saved it. Like, he and Bird, which is why I feel bad only putting one. He and Bird saved the NBA with their rivalry. It was going downhill before that. So, yeah, Magic was one I put on there.
My brother commented Dennis Rodman because of his effort in getting rebounds. Is this a South Oklahoma podcast? Chris, screw off. Yeah, Austin. Dennis Rodman, great, but I can't put him in there on the Mount Rushmore, but he did have great effort. The next person I went with, and I had to put him on this list just because he is one of the best players of all time. I can't stand the guy. I can't stand the way he plays the game. I can't stand the way he acts around it. LeBron James. Had to throw him on there, and I actually put him at 3 just because I can't stand the guy. But, I mean, 27 points a game, 7.4 rebounds, 7.4 assists, 1.6 steals a game, and still playing. So we'll see how his career ends. But
hey, longevity is a huge factor. I mean, I got to give him that.
Jordan will always be the GOAT, though.
Yeah, I went with who you didn't go with. No, I went with Larry Bird. I just feel like he's a tough son of a bitch. He's a mauler. I mean, he would try and look for a fight. You know what I mean? 3-time champion, 2-time Finals MVP, 3 MVPs, 12 NBA All-Stars, and 3 NBA defensive second teams. I mean, the guy he came to play basketball. He was tough, gritty, and he was scared of nobody. He was up for the challenge, and he was a baller. So that's who I have there. Who's your fourth guy or last choice there, Noah?
Again, this is one I don't really like to do because he's not one of my favorite players, but I just think if you're talking impact on the game and, accolades, I had to put LeBrick on there as my last guy. I think, leading scorer, great passer, great rebounder. He's won 4 titles. I honestly don't remember how many MVPs he's won. But just the impact he's had in the game, spreading around. I don't think it's as big as what MJ did in the 90s, but it's definitely up there. He's had a big part in spreading the game worldwide. He's one of those guys that even if you don't know anything about sports or basketball, you know who he is. I mean, I knew who he was before I watched basketball. So, and he's one of the greatest players of all time, whether we like him or not. So, it was tough. Like there were guys like I wanted to really put. I already mentioned Wilton Bird. Another one I wanted to consider was Bill Russell, but again, only 4. It's tough. I could not leave LeBron off, even though I really wanted to. It just couldn't do it, man.
Yeah, I can't agree more. I mean, LeBron, like you said, everybody knows who he is. You don't even have to be a sports fan to know who LeBron James is. I don't, like you said, I don't like the guy, but his impact on the game is there. So am I the only one left with somebody left?
I've got one more after you, sir.
Okay. So my last one, and just because of his mentality and what he brought to the game, I got to go with Kobe Bryant.
That was another one I thought of, yeah.
25 points a game, 5.2 rebounds a game, 4.7 assists a game, and 1.4 steals per game. But you couldn't outwork this dude. I mean, this dude was at the gym at 4 o'clock in the morning. I mean, Jaden Daniels has directly said he gets his work ethic from watching the Mamba. I mean, just overall great guy, and died way too early. Him and his daughter. That was just a sad incident, and I couldn't leave him off my list.
Yeah, that was a very awful incident, no doubt. It affected a lot of people for sure. And I agree with both of you about LeBron James, but I am leaving that son of a bitch off my list. I don't like him. I can't stand the guy. So I'm going with somebody who I also thought brought a very strong impact, same time frame, but just kind of different. LeBron James was dominant, kind of physical, but I'm going with Chef Curry, greatest distance shooter of all time, in my opinion, 4-time NBA champ, Finals MVP, 2 MVPs, 10-time NBA All-Star. I feel like he kind of changed the game for people who can just dominate on the outside and just control the game with, stacking 3-point shots up. So that's let's go ahead and go around. I'm going to give you my 4 just so we can kind of sum this up. I've got Michael Jordan, Shaquille O'Neal, Steph Curry, and Larry Bird for my Mount Rushmore.
Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Magic Johnson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Got Michael Jordan at 1, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, and Wilt Chamberlain. I would like to add an honorable mention that I hope we're talking about in about 10 years, Luka Doncic. I'm hoping with the new addition of Clay that we can get something done this year.
Right on.
That went better than I expected. Honestly, there was a bit of variation as well, which is always nice.
Yeah, absolutely.
But moving on to our next segment, guys, we're going to do our In the World of Other Sports segment. David, I'll start with you on this one because I know you always like to talk about your UFC.
Got to talk about my UFC. So this Saturday night, we have some awesome free fights coming on. I'm just going to talk about the main event here. It's UFC Fight Night, Pereira versus Hernandez. Anthony Hernandez is 12-2. And he's going against Michael Pereira, who's 31-11. This is a middleweight clash here as the main event. Hernandez is coming off of a 5-fight winning streak. He's won 6 of his last 7 fights, 4 coming by submission and 1 by KO, and the other by decision. Pereira, on the other hand, he's coming off of an 8-fight winning streak. He's been dominating as well. Finishing 3 of his opponents by submission and 1 by KO. I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a pretty good fight, but I kind of feel like their skills kind of cancel each other out. So I'm going to go with the more experienced fighter, Hernandez. He's had quite a bit few more fights. So that's who I'm going to go with. And just kind of a sneak peek talk. I'm really next week we'll be talking about UFC 308. Tokoria versus Holloway. That's going to be a war, and the overall card is just fantastic. So I'm going to really break that down for us and kind of discuss those fights there next week.
David, I'll leave all of that to you because I'm not as brushed up as I used to be. So I'll leave the predictions to you on the UFC.
I ain't brushed up at all. Anything past like 2014? I'm lost on.
Yeah, I stopped watching about 2016. The old bad John Bones Jones. That was my man.
Mm-hmm.
So on to the next part of this in other sports. I think me and Noah have the same topic, so I guess we can kind of just converse about that. Baseball is actually one of my favorite sports. So we are down to 4 teams left in the postseason, and they're actually one's playing now, one's about to tee off first pitch. So go ahead, Noah. Let's get your thoughts on it.
Man, it's unfortunate for me because like 3 of the 4 teams left, I just absolutely hate. The only one I don't mind is Cleveland, which they are down 2-0 in the series, but they are up 3-1 in the game right now. I just saw the 7th inning, end of the 7th there, so hopefully they can hold on that one. As for what I feel like it's going to be Dodgers Yankees. I don't want it to be. I'd rather, even though I hate the Mets, I don't hate them as much as I hate the Dodgers. So I would hope it'd be the Mets in Cleveland. Especially because both those teams haven't won in forever. The Mets haven't won since '86. The Guardians haven't won since like 1917 or something. But I don't know. I just think it's going to be really tough to come back from 2-0 against the Yankees. And I just think the Dodgers are more talented. The only reason I wouldn't totally hate if the Dodgers won is because my guy Freddie Freeman, my favorite baseball player of all time, could get another ring. But, yeah, man, all the teams I wanted to win went out early, like the Royals and Orioles, they all went out early. So it's been all right playoffs. I don't think it's been amazing. I'm just glad the Phillies aren't going to win the World Series because I freaking hate that team even more than the Dodgers. But yeah, I think it's going to be Yankees, Dodgers, and probably I feel like the Dodgers with Shohei and all them. I mean, that offense is just loaded. the Yankees, I feel like they're hot and cold. Speaking of hot and cold, man, Aaron Judge in the playoffs. I mean, I know he hit a home run the other night. Way too inconsistent for me, especially when he looks like freaking Barry Bonds in the regular season.
His postseason's been non-existent. He got off to a slow start in the season. Now he's getting off to a slow end. I mean, he's got to get it figured out there. But I'm with you on this. I don't really like any of the teams that are in this. And you want to talk about a letdown? I had to watch my team win their first World Series ever last year, and then bite the injury bug like the New Orleans Saints this year, and just be terrible. Only side, I mean, we get some good arms back next year. The Yankees too inconsistent. They're gonna end up beating Cleveland though. I mean, I just don't think Cleveland has what it takes to kind of go the 9 rounds with them. Dodgers and Mets. I really want to see the Mets win that and win actually the whole thing, because that's my the team I dislike the least out of this. But I can't stand the Dodgers. The Dodgers are probably my second least favorite team in the entire MLB, behind nobody other than the sorry ass Astros. But I mean, it's just not going to be a great World Series to watch this year compared to what I got to watch last year. But either way, it's a World Series, and I think it'll be, if it's the Yankees and Dodgers, I think that's going to be a bloodbath. So,
I don't know, fellas. I think it's going to come down to the Dodgers and Yankees as well. Man, Ohtani hit another home run last night. He's special.
He's hitting bombs, not home runs. This man is hitting.
Yeah, he's a special player. I think the Dodgers are probably going to win it all, honestly. I don't, like you said, I think the Yankees are just too inconsistent, but we shall see.
I will say, I mean, I wish that we were doing this podcast at the beginning of baseball season, because I called the Dodgers to win this as soon as they made the Ohtani trade. I was like, man, they got him for no money, basically, because they're not paying him until after his contract's over. He's getting like a minimum until his contract's over. And I was like, so they have all this other money to go get more people. Yay, they won. Just go ahead and give him the trophy.
And he hasn't pitched at all this year. So once he gets back pitching as well, that's just another thing.
I don't know. I mean, do you let him go back and pitch, though? Like, after the batting he had this year, I mean, do you let him go back and pitch? I mean, I know he's like, I mean, that's iconic. He is who he is because of the dual threat. But, I mean, if you have good pitching, I think you put him in the bullpen. If you need him, pull him out. But this man is killing it at the plate.
It's a good problem to have. That's
it
sure.
is. Yeah, it is.
Yes, it is.
All right. I don't have this labeled, so I'll go ahead and read it. I'm sure it's mine anyway. Segment 7, rundown of our college teams. Go ahead, Noah. That's good. You got a good one this week, so.
Yeah, man, we got Texas this week, which is going to be really tough because Texas looks really complete now. I will say, I think we're the toughest game they've had yet. I think we're better than Michigan and definitely better than Oklahoma. But Georgia was not impressive last week, man. We played Mississippi State, one of the worst teams in the SEC, and they just lit our defense up. They put up 31 points. We gave up almost 400 yards against them as well. Our offense was amazing. Other than Carson Beck threw 2 interceptions, but he had 459 yards and 3 touchdowns as well. We ran the ball well, 146 5 yards per carry as well. But our secondary, I don't know what happened to our secondary, man. We're just giving up bombs left, right, and center to a team that's now 1-5. It was a shootout game. I didn't expect it to be. And now we go on the road to Texas. So I think we're going to be underdogs. I think we deserve to be underdogs. But I will say, for the past, 3 or 4 years, Georgia has a big tendency to play to the level of their competition to where they'll look weaker against teams that you expect them to beat. But then when they play the best teams, they show up. So I don't think we're going to win, just based off what I've seen. But I wouldn't be surprised because, Texas has been saying some interesting stuff. I've seen them say, we don't fear playing anybody. So hopefully some bulletin board material. But, yeah, not a good week, man. We won the game. That's what's most important. But it was one of those unimpressive wins to me.
I'm pulling for y'all this week, man. I'm tired of hearing all my friends that are Texas fans. I'm sick of it. Y'all go handle y'all's business at their house and just take them out.
No, you're right, Noah. I mean, it was kind of a little bit of a sloppy game. I mean, it was 41-31, kind of high scoring. Beck did have the 2 interceptions, but he also threw the ball almost 50 times, 48 times. So, I mean, it is what it is there. He did spread the ball around pretty well, though. 3 receivers, had 5 receptions. I mean, he did pretty good there. Mississippi State's quarterback, Van Buren, he was solid as well. Passed the ball 37 times, connecting on 20 of those passes, 54%. Threw 306 yards and 3 touchdowns and interception. So pretty decent game there. Like you said, y'all have A&M next. Should be a pretty entertaining game there.
UT.
No, yeah, UT. Excuse me. I'm looking at my notes here below.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall Georgia got the dub. And on to next there. LSU, man, that was a pretty sloppy game. Overall, it was just an ugly win, but I guess that's better than a pretty loss. Nussmeier completed just 43% of his passes. He has times where he looks great, and then he has times where he just looks lost. He went 22 of 51, 337 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. Kyron Lacey is a stud. Him and Aaron Anderson accounted for 192 of his yards and 2 of the touchdowns. The defense they can't stop a run, man. Ole Miss running back Bentley rushed 11 times for 107 yards and a touchdown, 9.7 yards per carry. I mean, I guess LSU and the Saints being right there, they can't stop the run either, so it makes sense. But Jackson Dart, man, he completed 57% of his passes, 24 of 42, 284 yards, a touchdown and an interception. Game goes into overtime. Luckily, LSU holds them to a field goal. LSU drives down and throws a walk-off touchdown there for the win. Winning 29-26. Ole Miss dropped to number 18 there, while LSU jumped to number 8. Texas A&M is going to be a good game here in a couple weeks. I'm pretty nervous as far as our defense goes, but we got this win. It wasn't pretty, but I'll take it. So
I'm gonna be honest. I watched that entire game, just hoping y'all would lose. I don't know how y'all won that game. That was like the sloppiest win I've ever seen. Overall, Ole Miss played pretty good. And what's going on with this LSU team's not having running backs anymore? I mean, all right, got iconic quarterbacks and receivers. If y'all could just go recruit a running back, y'all be untouchable.
Mm-hmm.
And then y'all got to figure out y'all's tackling on the run game. That's ridiculous. Y'all look like peewee football players out there trying to tackle running backs.
You're talking about LSU, right?
Yeah.
Or the Saints. Okay.
Both.
Just making sure. Just Louisiana
in general.
Yeah,
I mean, you can throw the Cowboys in there too. I mean, they're probably the worst of it. But I actually don't have much to talk about as A&M was on a bye. We get to go play Mississippi State this week.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hoping we don't underestimate them and play down to our competition.
Like you should win pretty handedly.
I'm thinking
and then lose them next week. So, yeah.
I'm excited for that game. I'm excited for. We're going to have to watch that one.
Yeah,
that's going to be a good one.
For sure.
But, I'm just hoping A&M goes in there, gets it done, and doesn't underplay them. So, I mean, we should beat them by 20. But if we go in there not expecting to play a good team, I mean, they're still an SEC team either way. We just got to go in there and get it done.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah, all man. Right. Are we moving on, or do you want my thoughts on any?
Go for it. Yeah, go for it.
I was just going to say, first of all, with LSU, they're a weird team because I watch them. I'm not really impressed, but then I look at their schedule. They've won 5 straight games after barely losing to USC. And, Ole Miss, I think they're overrated, but they were number 9. Right. And, sloppy win, but it's still a top 10 win. I think they got Arkansas this week. Arkansas is really underrated this year. They've overachieved massively, in my opinion. Road game as well. If LSU can show something that game, they got 2 massive games after that. You mentioned the A&M game, and then they play Alabama. Their last 3 games are much easier. I mean, you can't count out Vandy, but, their last 3 games are definitely easier. So if they can win against Arkansas, 2 games basically decide the rest of their season. As for A&M, like you said, on a bye, again, Mississippi State looked pretty good against us, so I don't know. I'd expect A&M to win. Might be closer than people think. your two teams got opportunities, man, because Alabama slipped up against Vandy, and I know they beat at South Carolina. I was not impressed at all with what they showed against South Carolina. They really just had to dig in and try and survive that game by the nail of their skin of their teeth, pretty much. So, opportunities for you guys. Hopefully, A&M can win this week and set up both your teams can win, and we can set up a nice matchup.
That would be real nice. That's gonna be a nice
Absolutely.
conversation next week. Bama does have Tennessee this week, so don't put it past them to lose that one as well.
Yeah, true.
Both those teams are playing unlike themselves, though. So different college football now with paying players, though.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so back to the NFL. We'll go to our predictions for this week. First one's going to be the Broncos and Saints. That's kicking off here shortly. Go ahead, David.
Man, we the list of players on the injury report is probably bigger than the players that. What's that?
So we don't have enough time in the day to name off those injuries.
I think there's less players off of it than are on it. It's pretty ridiculous. The Broncos aren't very good offensively, but they've been playing good defense. They play really good run defense. Patrick Surtain is out, so is Chris Olave. I'm hoping for a low scoring defensive game. Hopefully Dennis Allen can kind of look at last week. I mean, he's supposed to run this defense, and you let a team drop a 50 banger on your head. That's got to either change or you get changed. You know what I mean? So hopefully him and the defense make a statement. They come back. Obviously playing a lot less talented offense. I don't know. We don't have any receivers to throw to, and it's going to be hard to establish that run. Hopefully Rattler in his second start can kind of make a statement, and hopefully they have a good game plan for him. I'm sure Peyton coming to town will also want to make a statement. And this happens to be on the night that the Saints are introducing Drew Brees into the Saints Hall of Fame. So that's going to be a fun halftime experience there for me. As far as the prediction, I don't know. I've been going back and forth on this game. I think the Broncos are probably the favorites for sure, but I'm going to pick the Saints in an upset. I'm going to go 17-16, low-scoring defensive game. So, yeah, that's my predictions there.
No, before we get to you, for those baseball fans watching, the Yankees just hit back-to-back home runs to take the lead 4-3. But they just, that might have clinched it.
Yeah.
Great. But, yeah, as for this game, I think this is honestly, guys, I think it's going to be one of those stereotypical Thursday night football games where it's really ugly, really sloppy, low scoring. I mean, over under 37.5, I'd go with the under, honestly. I wouldn't be surprised if this game doesn't go past like a 17-14, 16-13, something like that. My main thing, I know the Saints are banged up to high hell, but, I mean, the Broncos' offense is just anemic, like, at best. I think this is, the Saints defense has been terrible lately, but this is a great matchup for them because the Broncos do not have a good offense. It's tough though because Rashid Shaheed, he looked like their best deep threat, is out for the year now, and you mentioned Olave as well. So I think this is a game they need to rely on the running game more. Like the last 2 weeks, Kamara's basically been a non-factor, which is usually not the case for them. I think they need to try and lean on that a bit more, try and win in the trenches, which is also tough because they're banged on the offensive line.
Yeah, it's awful.
I don't know. I like gun to my head. I'm thinking something like the Saints win 16-13 just because I'm not sold on Bo Nix at all. But I have no confidence in it whatsoever. Like I think this is going to be a toss coin flip type of game where it's just which team sucks less, pretty much. And I'm slightly leaning towards the Saints in that one.
I agree with that as well. And you mentioned the Saints defense. Did you guys know that over the last 4 games, the Saints have missed 44 tackles?
Oh my God!
The Saints or the Cowboys?
The Saints have missed 44 tackles.
That's crazy.
On the last 4 games, 15 last week.
Mm-hmm.
That's just
y'all are pretty banged up on the defense too, huh?
I mean, a little bit. We're missing Pete Warner. He's one of our more solid linebacker tackling players. He's a good linebacker. one of our starting safeties is out, Will Harris. It's but the secondary, I mean, Honey Badger's been kind of on and off the field, but the rest of the defense has been pretty healthy. Other than those, all our corners are healthy. And the coverage is fine. It's the middle of the field that we're giving up big plays, and they're just giving up a lot of yak.
Well, DA better figure it out, or he might join old Bob Sala on the couch. So he might want to get it figured out. I mean,
so win the game, Saints. Give him that contract extension.
I mean, y'all pretty much said everything that I was gonna say. I mean, like I said, the only way they win this game is if they win in the trenches, but without y'all center Ruiz and the rest of y'all's offense line, I don't see how y'all do that. So, I mean, for the most part, we're in agreement. I mean, a healthy Saints team obviously blows the Broncos out, but with the injuries, man, and Sean Payton coming back to the Dome, I got to take the Broncos in this one. I'm gonna take them like 24-17. We'll go a little higher than y'all.
Okay. Right on.
But like I said, it's gonna be another, like Noah said, ugly, sloppy Thursday night football game.
I agree completely. Typical Thursday night games. This is a perfect game for it. All right, on to the next game here. Seahawks versus Falcons. Noah, go ahead and take this away for us.
I think we'll win this game because, well, number one, I think we have the edge at quarterback. I think Geno has been inconsistent this year. Has 6 picks on the season and only 6 passing touchdowns. Both teams, I think, are good running the ball, but I have a little bit more faith in us there because the Seahawks have been a bit hit or miss at times because it seemed like Charbonnet was their guy for a bit, and then now he's not. And Kenneth Walker, he needs to get back to his really, really solid running ways, whereas Robinson and Algier are solid. Weapons-wise, the Seahawks do have good weapons, but Lockett is questionable for this game. The main reason I think we win this game, the Seahawks defense, guys, the last 3 weeks has been getting lit up but like a Christmas tree. I mean, they got destroyed by the Lions and the 49ers, and they gave up 20 to the Giants, which is basically like giving up 50 to a normal team, pretty much. So, yeah, I think it's a tight game. I'm glad it's not in Seattle because Seattle's always a tough place to play. But I think we'll win. I think it's probably like a 1-possession type of game. Give me Kirk Cousins to win the game in the fourth quarter over Geno. I'll go to the Falcons 27-20.
Okay. I mean, Kirk Cousins is giving me no reason to go against him. And the only saving grace they have is if Kenneth Walker can get going. I mean, he's averaging 4.6 yards a carry, about 5 touchdowns, and he's missed some time this year. If y'all can stop him, I mean, y'all are going to have no trouble. I don't think this is going to be that close of a game. I think it'll be 38-27. I think Geno's driving down the field to try and get back in it and throws an interception. Y'all just limit Kenneth Walker and let Geno make his mistakes, and this should be a cakewalk for y'all.
Yeah, I've got Falcons have really been putting it on together lately. They look good. Cousins is in his own, looks his old self. Playmakers are starting to show life. I feel like the Seahawks have just been a little too inconsistent. This could be a trap game, but I've got the Falcons winning 34-24 here.
Oh, we got pretty close guesses there.
Mm-hmm.
Do I have the next one?
Yes, sir.
Okay, my bad. All right, so next game. Now this game is this is probably the best game of the week in my opinion. 4-1 Lions against 5-1 Lions against the 6-0 Vikings.
Mm-hmm.
I could be, but both teams looking amazing. Game in Minnesota. Minnesota 1.5 point favorite. David, let's start with you on this one.
Yeah, this is going to be a shootout, I think. The Vikings are undefeated. I've got the Vikings giving the Vikings their first loss of the season here. I think it's going to be a great game. Vikings are well coached, have good playmakers, and their defense have been lights out for sure. But the Lions just have a swag about them, man. They lost Hutchinson. That's going to be tough. He had that brutal leg break. That was that was disgusting. But I think they're going to pull it out here. I think they're going to pull off the win. I think it's going to be a shootout, but in a close one. But I've got the Lions winning 37-34.
I've got the go ahead, Tyler. Sorry.
I was just gonna say. I mean, I have literally my first note on this game is the same thing that you said. That this is just gonna be the best game of the week. I think this is by far the best game of the week, other than the one we'll talk about next. I think it'll be a pretty good one.
Yeah.
But for this one, missing Aiden Hutchinson with that, like you said, gruesome injury. They wouldn't even show it again on TV.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is going to be a nail biter, but I'm going to side with David here and go. They're getting their first loss of the season, but I'm going to go somewhere around a little bit closer, and it's won by a game-winning field goal. I'm going to say 31-28 Lions.
I have the Lions as well. I think they're a better team. I have more faith in, even though Sam Darnold's been amazing this year, I have more faith in Jared Goff than Sam Darnold. But the Lions running game, man, it's absolutely incredible. And their playmakers, they got Jameson. He's coming into his own as an elite deep threat. The Lions are playing really good ball lately. The Vikings have as well, but they struggled a bit against a Jets team that, we mentioned earlier has not been good this season. And I think some of the luster on Sam Darnold's kind of starting to go. He had a poor game last week, and he's thrown interceptions in back-to-back games. So I do think it'll probably be a higher scoring game like you guys, but I'm going to pick the Lions to win it 34-30.
All right. So on to the next game that I think will be the other good game of the week. The Texans at the Packers. David, give me your thoughts on this one.
Yeah, Texans at Packers. I believe this is going to be a good one as well. Both young quarterbacks. It should be very competitive. The Packers have looked really good as of late, and the Texans have as well. I'm going to go with the Texans here in a close one. I think it's going to be not too high scoring. I think it's going to be competitive. I'm going to go 28-24 Texans.
Yeah, I'm going with the Texans as well. I think I like Jordan Love, but I think he's been a bit hit or miss this season. Whereas I think C.J. Stroud has been really good. My main concern for the Texans is Joe Mixon is questionable. When he's played, he's looked really good, but he's been a bit banged up this season.
Mm-hmm.
That would be my main thing with them. But I think C.J. Stroud's been really good, and Packers. They're 4-2. It's been a bit of a mixed bag. I do think it's a really close game at Lambeau. I wouldn't be surprised if the Packers win, but I'm showing my faith in C.J. Stroud, man. I think this guy is legit, and I'm going to pick him to win this game 27-23.
It helps having Donnell Hunter and Will Anderson as your defensive ends on your defense as well. So
that's true. I very torn on this game. I think, like you said, both these quarterbacks are great. I think they're the faces of the league for years to come, along with Jaden Daniels. I think this will be a close game, but like you said, this is in Lambeau, and without Nico Collins for the year, I'm gonna say Stroud's gonna struggle with the deep threat on that. Yeah. So I'm actually gonna take the Packers in this game, and Love actually beating out Stroud. I'm gonna take it in a close game, 24-21 Packers in Lambeau.
Okay, outstanding. All right. The last game on our predictions here is going to kind of be an underwhelming game. I feel like it's the former Super Bowl contenders here, the Chiefs versus the Niners. Let's start with you, Tyler.
Like you said, this is the Super Bowl rematch. Not where I thought these two teams would be. Actually, either of them. I didn't think that the 49ers would have a slow start to the season as they did. And the Chiefs' offense is just not the offense we're used to seeing, which is actually really scary because if they can get that offense going with the defense, oh, man, there's no way we're not seeing a three-peat. This game, I think, is going to be close just because of the history here and the amount of times that the Niners have lost to the Chiefs. And, I mean, I battled. I was like, oh, do the Niners give them their first loss? I got to give it to my boy Patty. He's going to go in there and win it. Close game, 27-24.
Yeah, man, another coin flip game, a game that's kind of been the inverse because the Chiefs' biggest strength has been their defense, and the 49ers' biggest strength has been their offense, which is the exact opposite of what you would expect. Neither of these teams have played even close to their potential yet. The difference is Kansas City's 5-0, and San Fran is 3-3. I personally do not see San Fran falling below 500 the rest of the year, and they're at home. I think they just have so much untapped potential. I'm going to pick the 49ers. Again, it's really close game, but I'm going to pick the 49ers to win it at home. Mahomes is still not quite right, in my opinion. He's had way too many turnovers, and I think the 49ers are they're due to finally get on a good streak. So give me the 49ers to win the game. I think it'll be very close, but I'm going to go 49ers 27-24.
Okay. Before we close out this show, I want to give a big happy early birthday to our co-host David. His birthday's coming up next week, so happy birthday, big man.
Oh, yeah, happy birthday, man.
Thank you, fellas. Appreciate that. All right, so like I said, Super Bowl rematch. Both teams are kind of banged up. The Chiefs have been doing just enough to win, but I think they lose this week. I've got the Niners defense to control the game. They haven't been looking like themselves, but I mean, Mahomes, he doesn't have any receivers. I think they'll do just enough to kind of limit him. And it's not like Mahomes has been very good this year anyway. So just from his inconsistencies and everything. Thank you, Austin. I appreciate that. So yeah, I'm going to call the Niners to win this one. I'm going to say it's a very close game, 28-27 Niners.
Okay.
Oh, yeah,
and yeah, I completely forgot that their receivers are just completely. They got who is their number one receiver over there?
Juju Smith-Schuster, who had like 137 yards against us, but let's not talk about that.
Kelsey got to get going.
Hey, he looked pretty good against us too. Yes, sir.
Hey, let's not forget we gotta look at our records from last week.
Yeah,
we do. I forgot about that. He's excited to say this one.
I'm 7-0, man. I out of all the games I picked, the only one I picked wrong was the Jags Bears because Trevor Lawrence is a fucking bum. I can't stand him.
I can't either. Overrated
for sure. But in the games we picked, I went 7-0. David went 4-3. He picked the Cardinals, and I already. He picked the Commanders. I know that was another one. I don't remember the other one. And Tyler, you went 6-1, only because, and I remember
my loyalty.
You knew that they're probably going to lose, but you picked them just because they're your team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, won't be doing that anymore.
What a shame. So I don't think I'm going to be undefeated after this week. There's way too many close matchups, but
there is. There's a lot of good games this week
for sure. But yeah, that's all the segments we have for tonight. Is there anything you guys kind of want to say before we wrap it up?
I think we're good. I enjoyed the show, fellas. Good is better than last week, and I'm excited. I think we're just going to keep trending in the right direction, and we've got a great show for folks we're going to keep putting on.
Yes, sir. We'll see y'all back 5:30 Central Time next Thursday.
That's it.
Absolutely. Thank you to everyone for watching. Thanks for all the comments. You guys were great tonight. From myself, Noah Dog Diver, my co-host and good buddies, Tyler Rowe and David Dunphy. It's been another episode of SportLife Uncensored. Stay safe, and we'll see you next time.
Peace.
Thank you for watching this episode of Sweet Tea on the Sports Box. Please remember to follow us on all of our social media outlets. On Facebook at SportsBox Show, Twitter at SportsBox Show, Instagram at The SportsBox Show. Find us on YouTube and join Outside the Box, our Facebook sports discussion group. The Sports Box is brought to you by our sponsor, Showcase Sports in Hamilton. Showcase Sports for the elite athlete. And also our friends over at CrowdPlay. Download the free CrowdPlay app today and use promo code THEBOX at sign up for 10 free points. Thank you for joining us.